Welcome back. And I wrote my own vows to my body. And it had to do with I want to be your partner. I want to notice your needs. I want to meet them. I want to feel your expression. I want to be guided by you in ways that my cognitive mind alone can't always achieve. Letting our spirits in as a vibrant part of our orientation and process of life. Right. Okay. So figured we'd start on a little dance. And if you notice freedom and excitement about that, great. If you notice resistance and earnestness about that, that's also great. We're here to have information, not to be in a place of judgment, given that there are perfectly reasonable explanations for why we are less comfortable being fully alive in our body. I will just go over some of them very briefly, just as a way of saying it's understandable. It isn't your fault. It is something we can work with. So to be fully alive, we might have encountered people, especially in our youth, that were more fully alive. We might have heard, who do they think they are? They are shameless. They might have been perceived as not fitting in all that well, and so on. Polite society and a lot of our overbearing cultural kind of institutional ways of being don't make a whole lot of room for not knowing, full aliveness, vitality, and so on. The mystics do. Man, do they write about that? They write about being on fire. They write about the waterfalls from the heavens moving through their cellular body and connecting them to the oxygenation of all life. They write about it in a way that feels truer to me than any academia ever could, which is why I work with it in this way, which is why we play a song and we dance, which is why we work with the spirit in some non-ordinary ways. Anyway, that's a lot of that is about having fun too. So in this segment, we're talking about, okay, we've thought through a little bit and worked through a little bit of how to restore our energy body, which is our radiance, our breathing depth and fullness, our awareness, and our presence in our body so that we have robustness to this energy body that we're developing a relationship with. Now we're talking about our ongoing relationship to the radiant body, to the light body, how we can build it in as a partnership rather than something that we only meet the needs of the body when something's hurting. And then we treat the body as inconvenient, like that kind of relationship versus a lovership. When we are in the first version of that, our brains are geared towards scanning the body for what is wrong. And that is helpful and useful. But if that's all we're really aware of, then we are missing the deep sensational experience of pleasure, the pleasure of vitality, the pleasure of sensation, and the whole other side of awareness that has to do with enjoying the lightness, the levity, and the energy of our being. So one of the things I feel like is prohibitive the most, that again, acknowledgement is enough. We don't need to solve this. And the acknowledgement is this: we live in time. And with ego dominance, which is again, our primary modality in our overculture, ego dominance and mental dominance, there's something that's way more important than the present moment. And that is the future. What is going to happen? How is it going to happen? How are we going to create a plan and then execute that plan? And then also the mind wanders into the past. But we are in the past and we are in the future mentally most of the time. So you can tell that because the vitality of the body is not strong and magnetic. The vitality of the body feels less. So to turn the volume up on the vitality of the body, it requires us to inhabit a very, very special location. Words fail, remember, but we will get there. This very, very special place that we can go to where all transformation and vitality is possible. And it's the only place where all transformational vitality is possible. And I call this place the temple of the present moment. One of the strongest phrases from Michael Brown's book, The Presence Process, that has stayed with me, stays with me, stays with me, is this moment matters. This moment matters. This moment matters. And to our body, it can only speak. It can only give us anything. It can only receive anything in this moment. So it can get in the way if the present moment is a dilapidated building in an overgrown part of the forest, and there's graffiti and bottles and trash maybe lying around, and the windows are broken, and the doorway to the temple is like kind of on its hinges. We've gone so mental that devotionalness and spirited beingness is ready for a revival. Maybe we've stumbled on this beautiful sacred site, and we walk in and we see, God, the stained glass. There's sun shining through it. There's an energy to it that just beyond any rationale at all calls to us to go pick up this broom that's lying sideways against a dirty wall. And we begin to sweep the steps of the temple of the present moment, letting your mind relax, letting your body soften. Notice that your awareness in your body has a delicate pleasure to it, just as a vibration all by itself. And as we sweep the temple, a part of us begins to revive. This part of us that is sick of planning everything for the future and neglecting the experience of life right now. There is a risk to being radically alive. Some of our limiting, dense, rigid instructions for how to be will begin to crumble as our spirit grows strong. We're sweeping the temple. And not only does it look a little spiffier inside, but people start to kind of come by. And we found this ancient place. And our work now is to restore it to a place of devotion that we come to, that we belong in, and that is our life. Our life is created of moments, and how we embody them and bring forth the energy of life will support us more than we can possibly imagine right now. So, as you've noticed, the theme running through the light body is a simple one. The relationship to our energy in the vessel of our being, so our body, is the most intimate, the most supportive relationship that we will have in our entire life. And it is the template for all other relationships that we have. If there's neglect in the template of our personal relationship, we will feel it and feel lonely in our relationships with others. And if there is anything in there, whatever is in there in that template of relationship to our body, our deep body, and our energy, to improve all of our relationships, we go straight to the source, our relationship to the self in our sensational body. The temple of the present moment is the place where all of this recurs. We don't have to solve every complicated dilemma in our mind in order to find peace in this moment. We can walk away from the narrative, from the complex functioning of this or that. And how we do that is to relax the brain and bring our awareness deep down inside the deep body. This is our physical, emotional, sensational experience that's happening right now. So I had an extraordinary teacher who said one thing that stayed with me forever and always, and I'll share it with you now. I had done 3 days of hard dancing and soft dancing and emoting and finding oneself in this ecstatic dance experience. And our teacher at the last day was sitting on the stage up front and taking questions. Her name is Gabrielle Roth. One of the students, it could have been me, it wasn't, but it could have been, said, "There's no 5 rhythms where I live. You're far away. There's nothing like this where I live. How am I supposed to go back into my life now, knowing that this medicine is here and it's so far away from me?" And I was like, gripped also. I was going to get on a plane and go back to a little town in Alaska far away where nobody was doing this. Nobody could hold it. And I was going to lose that richness. And Gabrielle said, "The most important teacher you will ever have in your entire life, far beyond me, far beyond Kate, far beyond anybody, is your physical body. Listen to the energies, the inspiration, the guidance that comes wordless through image, through sound, through sensation. And sometimes there's words. The most important teacher you will ever have in your whole entire life is your body. Build that relationship now." And I have been doing that for 25 years after she spoke those words. And her message was not those verbal words. People have said brilliant things to me, brilliant things that I don't remember with such clarity. And it was because she said those words with the deepest, most embodied conviction. I felt it in my bones because her aliveness was undeniable, undeniable. So I've been trying to develop a relationship that is that trustworthy with my own body ever since that moment. And it has saved my life. It has enriched my life. And our capacity to play and be companioned in the body rather than feeling alone is a very, very radical, very, very beautiful, very, very possible thing. So we're going to do an exercise that I'm going to describe in a few minutes. The reason I love this exercise so much is because if there's something that you walk away from this group with in your pocket, your little heart pocket, if you walk away with anything, it is this tool. I mean, that's, I'm not in charge of that. But the reason is that we often need guidance and counsel and can't find it. And so this practice is simple, simple, simple. We consciously but sincerely connect the breath for 3 minutes. And then we ask the deep body for its clarity, for its message for us. We learn how to listen and we wait. Now, the body doesn't always answer our question directly. We might get, what do I do about this situation? Consciously connect the breath, get my energy moving, and then pause in the stillness. I ask the deep body, and the deep body might say, we are safe to be still. But that's not a direct answer to it is. It opens the question up for a greater insight that dissolves the limitation of the question itself. Our heart's guidance is the thing we look for mostly in our whole life. The one thing that we look for and try to get in all of the other ways is unconditional love. And there's a home for it in our body. Learning to use our breath, not just to stimulate repression like we did in our first segment, but to stimulate the intelligence of the heart and then listen to it and receive it. So we're talking about being in a friendly, ongoing, interconnected relationship with the body's sensations so we can increase the quality of our life. It really is, in some ways, that simple. These are just tools and contexts. In this exercise, we're going to practice being in connection and staying in our own seat. The direction is, if you can, scooch your way up to your screen and find the eyeballs of somebody else on the screen. Watch your eyes, pass over. This isn't a judgment thing. It's no big deal. And nobody knows what's going on in your process. It's totally fine. Okay. So, but you're going to allow your eyes to scan through the crowd and notice where they pause. It might be because there's a judgment, or there might be a connection or safety, but notice where your eyes will naturally go. So allowing yourself to soften in the mind, and if a judgment arises, then just return your awareness to your breath and soften towards it from a place of kindness if you can. Neutrality of kindness is not available, but find your person that you're gazing with. Feel the breath pace and depth that is right for you. Settling in, relax the brain, resting inside the cradle of the cranium. And begin to connect your breath while in connection and still seated and centered in your own body. And if you dare, if you feel called and safe to do so, turn the volume up on your inhale as you're breathing, inviting that energy, that life force prana all the way in. As you are breathing, you might also want or allow yourself to want life force energy to be flowing for your partner. Stay in your breath and stay in connection. You may allow a message to pass between you. I'm breathing with you now for all the times in your life where you've been unable or unsafe to breathe. I'm breathing with you now, as you are breathing with me, full and free. Stay present in your breath and your body. Relax your mind as best you can. Just breathing, just breathing. As you are ready, taking a nice deep inhale, gently holding the breath at the top of the inhale. And exhale, soften and relax your body. Go inward for a moment. Connect with the deep body. I am open to hear a message from you. Let a message, an image, a feeling, a shape just rise. Might tweak it a little till it's just right, but without too much thought. Wish your partner vitality and energy of love moving through their body. And for yourself, this excitement about having energy and love moving through your body and getting to discover who we are when we are resourced, who we are when our physical and our emotional needs are met. Okay, so we'll go ahead into our next activity. There is a prayer that's universal, and I've seen it in different ways. Meister Eckhart, the Ho'oponopono. There is a deep meditation and prayer that will use the format of the Ho'oponopono prayer, which I'll explain very briefly for those of you who are unfamiliar with it. But we are saying this prayer to our bodies. So again, softening the mind and being in the energetics of it as best you can. The prayer is about reunification with our body. And so we go through these 4 steps of this reunification process. Think of it as a ceremony or a ritual of committing to being in partnership in a conscious and healthful way. So the prompts of the Ho'oponopono prayer, and I've seen them in different orders, but it is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. It's often sung or chanted. If you like, you can write these down. Also, if you want to walk through it in your mind, you can, but I think that writing it down in this instance is really powerful. So what we're going to do is walk through these prompts. So just begin with a deep breath, relax the mind, and allow. We'll take 2 minutes for each prompt. And remember that we're speaking directly to our body, directly to our body. Starting now with, I am sorry, to the body. I am sorry for, and just write in a free write style without too much thought. Allow the messages to keep coming even when your mind runs out of ideas. And take a nice breath and complete your sentence. And to the body, please forgive me for. Please forgive me for. Taking a breath to finish your sentence. And the new prompt, I love you for. To your body, I love you for. And take a breath and complete the sentence or sentiment that you're on. And last of all, thank you, body. Thank you for. Thank you for. Taking a breath, completing the sentence or sentiment that you're on. My sincerest hope that our excitement and awe has been brought forth about living this next chapter of our life in deep companionship with access to unconditional love, guidance, and connection wherever we are, any moment that we need it, and that we are breathing more rather than less when things are occurring in our life. Right. So I'm thinking of this as a beginning rather than an end. Of course, the real juge, the real wisdom rich segment of our class has to do with the gems and insights that have risen for you. So each time anybody speaks, we can feel ourselves or we can feel compassion and connection. So that's really gets exciting. I want to open up the floor and rely on the skillfulness of Mike to call upon each of us to share a gem that we are taking with us from today. A gem that we're taking with us from today is. And as we're ready, we can begin. Take a breath, try to listen with your whole body or whole heart as we proceed.
Jim.
This was so rich for me today. That flash of insight about being one body. I mean, it's said all the time, oh, we're all one body. And my mind put that in like we're all little cells that make up a larger body. But you know what? Being a little cell is still a separation. And so the experience I had is no, literally, we're one body. And so this last 2 weeks, I've had a lot of strong body experiences of severe pain and then healing. And so as I take care of my body, I'm taking care of Mike's body. I'm taking care of Kate's body. It was a whole different experience of we're one body, feeling myself as the body of everyone. So that was a main gem. And a little footnote, a little side note, you mentioned about remembering and forgetting. Paramahansa Yogananda in his community had a chant, and people would sing for a long time, remembering and forgetting, remembering and forgetting, remembering and forgetting. It's just to remind that's life. That's, I've often taken it as a criticism. Why can't I remember all the time? Well, maybe that's not the program here. Who knows? Maybe it's not even the ultimate goal. So, yeah, to loosen up on that idea that my memory is fading as I age.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
And
so I'll go. Yeah. So, Jim, I take away, it's okay to have fun in this life. That's something my body told me. So I'm going to go with that. It's okay to have fun.
Thank you, Mike. I'm going to go with that one too. Jim, I am taking from today's experience. It is safe to trust your experience.
Thanks, Kate.
The closing remarks related to this perhaps new idea or maybe older idea that we're continuing to deepen into, which is that it is safe and pleasurable to have energy in my body. As Jim pointed out, we are the great rememberers and the great forgetters. And we come out of the darkness into the light, cycling back and then through the darkness and into the light as we push our evolution of our consciousness and our humanity forward. It is part of the somersault or design of life that we remember and that we forget. And so it's wonderful, wonderful to come back to a warm welcome when we've wandered off and done all kind of weird things. And then we remember to come home to the deep dwelling, the deep inner wholeness and vitality of our body, to trust and pray and let go in that way, and to experience what we're feeling in the temple of the present moment, that we come back to a warm welcome. It is part of it that we forget. Finding a noble shape is another one I'm asking you to take with you if it speaks to you. Any moment in your day. So there's the 3 minutes of breathing to help us connect to our greater guidances and greater energies. That if we need something in a moment, that we flock towards the breath rather than away from it. And we're rewiring that into our life. And another one is find the noble shape. When we shift the posture, position, and energy of our body with intention and presence, it can shift a dynamic that's playing out. So if we notice that there is collapse or that maybe no presence in the body, that these words just all by themselves, allowing there to be respect and comfort in the shape of the body, is another tool that we can use as we travel about our day, week, month, and life for the rest of it until the end. I remembered one really juicy gem I hadn't shared yet, so I'll throw that in there really quick here at the end, which is there is a question we often ask ourselves that we're going to throw off to the side, and we're going to replace that question. So this is, again, if you want to write this down, you can. I certainly have over and over again. The old question is this: what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you that, this or that other thing? We're replacing it with a new question. And the new question is, what do you need? So in our self-talk, There's another little tweak or adjustment that can shift the basis of our experience, the energetic basis of our experience. Okie dokie.